If you're following Depp First Heard or any other big story or any other big news, headlines might be something that are a bit irritating and frustrating, so I wanted to get into some headlines about Depp First Heard, just talk about them, what they mean, the narratives behind them, and why I think they're wrong or pretty much know they're wrong. So this tweet here is from Richard Bacon on Twitter. Shout out to him, don't know him personally, and he says, "Old media seems baffled that the jury didn't put this in a wider context rather than, I don't know, just listening to the witnesses in a specific trial they were trying and reaching their opinion." So, great point off the bat. Obviously, the media is going to spin everything by a narrative. It's not going to be personal. They're not going to actually figure out who was right, who was wrong. They're not going to actually blame Amber. They're just going to talk about some fallout that's going to happen because Johnny won. At least in the headlines I'm talking about here. Now, there are positive headlines all over the place, but I'm talking about the negative ones because those are the ones we're more concerned about. And by the way, one quick thing before I get into it. Richard here says old media. Some people say legacy media. You don't want to say mainstream media so much anymore because there isn't that much of a mainstream media that there used to be. There used to be just a mainstream media and then some much smaller platforms that had small followings here and there that were struggling to be known. But now, since we've got social media, especially YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook combined have billions and billions of users, the legacy media, or the old media, as Richard says, doesn't even get as much views and traction as some of the bigger ones, like Joe Rogan. Or I should say, some of the bigger independent podcasters and creators like Joe Rogan. So if you go by number, by the amount of people reading, then you come to the conclusion that the mainstream isn't exactly this legacy media anymore. All right, let's get into it. So the first one's from The Guardian, and it says, "The Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial was an orgy of misogyny." Well, wait a minute. What is this here? Is this news? What's The Guardian supposed to be? Something you click on and you find information about the world, fair and balanced, or is this like some kind of a clickbait video? Just to me, real unprofessional there. And by the way, it wasn't. The judge was a woman. Amber and Johnny both had women on their legal team. There was really nobody in that courtroom pushing some narrative that men are better or men have the upper hand. There were people showing evidence and discussing the facts. This one here from the Mary Sue, which is a very, very trashy, extremely opinionated site, says, "This is a devastating and dangerous day for survivors of domestic abuse." Not even for 1 second thinking about the evidence and if Johnny Depp could actually be right in the situation. They just assume it was all wrong and, oh, the abuser got away with it. So there's really no use for the Mary Sue ever, anywhere, for anyone. Teen Vogue says the Johnny Depp Amber Heard verdict doesn't matter after the internet made a spectacle of abuse. What abuse? The internet made a spectacle of domestic abuse claims, leaving a despicable landscape for survivors everywhere, but the claims were false. So again, they assume that the claims are right and that they're being made a farce of, but the whole problem for the last 5 or 6 years is that the claims were false. BuzzFeed News says, "Why the Depp First Heard trial was so exhausting to watch." Okay, fair enough. It was really long, so if someone's got that opinion, all right. I'll give that one a next. Men always win. Survivors sickened by the Amber Heard verdict. Again, making it about gender, not about the facts and the evidence. That's from Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone? I thought they reported on music. I mean, Johnny Depp is a musician, but if you get my drift, this is way off base from what they should be reporting on. Salon says, as Johnny Depp wins his defamation suit, believe all women loses because it should be cross out the women, believe all facts and evidence. And Think from NBC says, how the Johnny Depp Amber Heard jury got it wrong twice. No, that's it. So NBC knows the jury got it wrong twice. So in this, I don't know, 7-minute, article or whatever, they're going to convince you that the jury got it wrong. This is like a 5-minute read usually, or like a 7-minute read. Do you have the capability to pack in how the jury was wrong after coming to the conclusion after 13 hours or something and watching days of a trial in like 7 minutes? I don't think so. And Global Circuit here says, and I'm not going to read it because who the hell are they? And down here, your Tango Entertainment News says, don't care, who are they? And CNN says, and good on them, they put opinion first. This verdict is much bigger than Depp or Heard. All right, you know what? My instinct tells me they're going to take Amber's side like they have been doing on live TV. But the headline itself is not so bad. The Independent says Amber Heard didn't ask for any of this, but the verdict will change her life. Well, wait. She didn't actually ask to go to court, but the actions that she made led her to court. So Johnny asked to be kicked out of Pirates of the Caribbean and Fantastic Beasts for no reason? How is this even a headline? I mean, she did ask for it, just not in words, literally. She went out there with the fake bruises, with the sob story, went to People Magazine, went to the Washington Post. That's asking for it. And The Root says, Amber Heard verdict sends a message to black women everywhere. Okay. I need that explained to me. Obviously, they're bringing race into this. I don't see how. All right. Just let's move on. This is not a racial issue. Not in my opinion. And this is posted right under it. The media tells you who to love, who to hate, who to be afraid of, who to trust, what to think, and what not to think. Free your mind from mental slavery. And yeah, well said. I mean, when you think about the media, what it's supposed to be is portraying facts and passing along facts to you the best they can, which is not what it is anymore. What it is narratives, what you're supposed to think, and like it says right here, who to hate and who to love. Even if you've got someone who's really terribly nasty and has done horrible things, the media shouldn't really have an opinion on them. What they say the person's doing should make it clear they're not a good person. It should be clear anybody with common sense shouldn't like that person, but they shouldn't really tell you not to like that person. That's not quite their job. And let's end here with this Judge Judy meme, which makes it into like every thread on Depp vs. Heard. And hey, I'm a fan. I used to watch Judge Judy. So good on that. Anyway, there's a ton more headlines out there. Like I said, some positive, not all negative. But I wanted to highlight some of these. I especially dislike the Mary Sue up there. There is no way they would ever admit Amber was wrong, no matter what she did. She could go to the Mary Sue headquarters, trash it, abuse all of them, steal their money, and they'd still be like, well, she must have been having a bad day that day, and I'm sure she had a good reason to do it. We stand with her. They're the worst. Anyway, if you're not subscribed here, consider it. I'm doing Depp vs. Heard, pop culture, celebrity news, stuff like that. If you don't subscribe, I guess I'll be pretty sad about it. But I'll get over it, make a new video, something like that. See you next time.